So you see yourself. See?
So we still have some people kind of showing up and streaming in, and no rush. So come on in, you get a drink, whatever you guys need. We'll probably get started here in 15 minutes. So we'll watch.
She grows up. Oh my gosh. She's so tall. Like she by your friend, right? No. Did you have another so that's the concept of the when we have the party. Oh my god. Look, Mom. No.
Hey, listen, you
Look,
can't
Mom.
touch all this stuff,
But
okay?
look,
I know. Can you step back for a minute, please?
I'm just looking at myself.
Please don't touch anything. If you want to be on the camera, you have to step all the way back here. All the way back here. There you are, right there.
Cool. I'm looking for my dad. It used to be on that one, but look, what is it used to try to get on. What? What? Just get it. You don't know good Well, I'm gonna be up top. Go up top. There she is.
Hello. Hi. Sorry. Excuse me. If someone's driving a red Subaru, your tail end is in the runway. We just need you to move the car to a different area. So if you have a red Subaru, if you need help with that, let us know. Thank you.
I see Jane. She just
We're just
picked up.
looking at the slideshow thing real quick. We'll get started about 5 minutes here.
I go to short basket. Danny, don't touch that, okay? Weird. Okay, that's a bummer. Can we plug?
I see you.
We just plug the USB into it. It doesn't need to be plugged in. Just plug this USB into it. And have the USB connected. Just do that.
There's Anna. Where? That's me too. Right there. I know. Because that is you. Because look in the screen. Bye myself. Bye. Bye. Bye myself.
Hey, don't touch the computer, okay, please?
What is that? Hey, you right there. You right there. Put her down. Let's see her. Hey.
Hey, girls. So we'll have you sit down.
I always see so much Papas. There's Papa, there's Mama, there's Papa. I see so much. There's Papa.
Hey, girls, I want you to sit down. You guys sit down, please. Sit down.
Thank you, guys. So, somebody said I had to turn that up. Is that loud enough? Louder? Not as loud, one more. How's that? Better? I know I'm usually pretty good about getting close to the mic, but some people are going to be further away. So if you feel like this means get closer to the mic. So Dad didn't like funerals. He didn't like funerals. He didn't like hospitals. You know, so he would want to keep this really casual. So that's what we're going to do. So go ahead and feel free to continue to get food. I'm just going to start it off, and then as we said in the program, I'm just going to say something, and then we'd love to have anybody else who wants to get up and tell a story about Dad. Just tell some stories today. That's it. That's all we're going to do. Nothing too crazy. We've got really good food for you guys here. Clams and prime and all that good stuff. What's the matter? Yes, we'll do that later. You're going to get the story. August is very excited. She wrote something too. So, yes, okay. I'll try to get through this without breaking up. Okay. Thank you guys all for being here. And thank you. Hey, Ella. Go sit down. Hey, all right. Those are my girls. Just like me. Geez. Okay, so I'm just gonna get up here and yammer some more. Yeah, it's gonna be casual. We're here to celebrate 88 amazing years of Don Burk, and you know, that's a good run. And we got bonus time. We're very, very lucky. We have 12 extra years, and we almost lost them 12 years ago, right? It was 12. So we had the long goodbye, kind of, you know, and during that time, we had some really amazing moments with Dad. And even when he was bedbound, you know, my daughters got to sit on his lap, and so we're very blessed. And I have only my mother, Renee Burk, to thank for that, because she was a lot of hard work. And you guys who've been around know, and some of you may not know, but you know, Dad was on, you know, home dialysis at the end there, and I think the average lifespan for somebody on home dialysis is about 3 months, and we got more than that. We got, I don't know, 7 or 8 months, something like that. So, and we still even got some beautiful moments in there at the end. So he passed. I want to bring this up because somebody asked me while I was here, and I just assumed everybody knew, but I shouldn't assume anything. So Dad did one more trip to Maui. We got him over there just, here in March. And he wanted to go to Maui so bad, and he was bedbound and he was declining, but he had a fall and hit his head, and he was so worried about not making it to Hawaii. We got him there anyway, and he was there for about a week, and then ended up passing at the beginning of the second week. But the thing about it was pretty amazing. I know he could hear us. When I was talking to him, I'd ask him, hey, you want me to sit you up? He'd nod his head. So I could tell he could hear us. He wasn't really talking, but he got to see every one of the grandkids. The whole family was there. Kaanapali Beach, a place that we all really loved, that he's been going since 1962 or something like that. And, you know, with a view of the ocean and surrounded by family, and nobody could ask for anything better than that. So it was, you know, we're blessed in a whole lot of ways to have him all these years. And yeah, I think, you know, I don't know what else you could want. So thank you all for coming today to celebrate the life of a great man, Don Burk, my dad. So Don is my stepdad. He's been in my life since I was about 4.5 or so. And I'm 42 years old now. And I realized that by the time I met my dad, he was already 10 years older than I am now. So I can't tell you about the young Don Burk. I'm sure a lot of you guys can. Yeah. I wish, if I had a time machine, I'd go back and I'd party down with my dad. So yes, he did. He put my party machine, I think, and I had some good party time. So, but I can tell you about the man who raised my sister and I. Vivian and I really won the jackpot to have Don Burk as our dad. He was really a force of stability in our lives. He was mature, level-headed, not overbearing, and endlessly supportive. My mom, Renee, you all know, made most of the day-to-day decisions. I'm from a matriarchal family, so sort of ran the household. But when Dad took a stand on something, that was generally the law. He was wise enough to know how to choose his battles, both with Mom and with us. And so he and Mom made great partners, both as life partners and as parents. They were not strict parents. We felt the freedom to make our own choices and learn our own lessons. But the one thing that was not up for discussion was our grades. If we didn't keep our grades up, we knew there was going to be trouble. He and Mom provided guardrails for us, but not tracks, which I feel like is a good way to parent. Dad was never pushy. He gave us the freedom to choose our own path in life. He always said, you can be anything you want to be. If you want to be a dentist, I'm here to help you. It's a great job. You can be anything you want to be, as long as you're happy. You can help people out and feed your family. He sprinkled in some sage advice here and there, like work smarter, not harder. Some of you guys have heard that. Even though Dad was the epitome of put your nose to the grindstone, he showed up to work without complaint every day and put in the work so that we can enjoy trips to Hawaii and pay for the gas at Big Lake. Dad always said, I wasn't smart like a lot of my dental school classmates, so I had to just work harder to get into dental school and keep my head above the water with grades. Dad was mostly quiet and contemplative, but he was always thoughtful. You might not know it, but he was extraordinarily caring and brought flowers and greeting cards for everyone way in advance, and he put a lot of thought into those cards and gifts. Dad was always thinking about everyone else. He was sort of a Depression-era kid in his mentality. He was very frugal with himself. He bought all of his clothes at Costco, famously. He never bought things for himself. But he also never failed to pick up the bar tab or the dinner tab, no matter how big the group was. He would give Vivian and I walking around cash when we went to Hawaii or at home. And we never wanted for financial support, but we also knew we didn't have the money to burn and didn't ask for it unless we needed it. Viv and I sort of grew up around our dental office, Midtown Dental, and I started working in there filing charts when I was about 14. The office was small, but I could tell early on that Dad was loved by his employees and patients, many of whom had been coming to Dad since the 70s or 60s. Here's one right here. Some of you guys are here, so thank you for being here. We love that you're here. I'm lucky enough to this day to see some of these patients, and they still light up when they come in and they ask about Dad. I mean, I just don't know. I've been doing this dentistry thing now for 15 years up here, something like that, or 16 years, and I don't think I've met anybody that the patients love more. His employees loved him more. He was very compassionate. He helped a lot of people out with dental work when they couldn't afford it. He took great care of his employees and took them on trips and made it a great place to work, even if it was work. That song will tell you. The song is here. I feel very grateful to have been able to practice with Dad for 3 years before his stroke forced him to retire. And I don't think he ever would have retired. He always said, I don't know what else I would do. He just really loved coming in and seeing his patients and his work family. Dad worked out every morning at the Alaska Club. I went in with him sometimes, and it was always amazing to me that even the younger brothers in the club and people you'd never think of being Dad's social circle knew his name and went out their way to come talk to him in the locker room or wherever. I think Dad was near universally loved by all types of people. He just had that great, easygoing personality that people were attracted to. He never complained, ever. And he usually had a smile on his face. Dad was always the most interesting guy in the room. He'd be sitting in his chair at Big Lake, and all my friends were always standing in front of him, wanting to hear his story. Dad also said, if you don't have anything nice to say about someone, don't say it at all. And I never once heard him say a bad thing about another person. And that's true. Dad loved hunting and fishing and flying. I asked him about a year ago what he misses the most, and he said the hunting and the flying. He would fly out to Big Lake every weekend and fly out to fish, and he retired with a perfect record of always getting us there safely in the 185. When he was bedbound, we would put on some hunting channels on YouTube, like the Mountain Project or whatever, and he loved to hear about my moose hunt or whatever adventure I had recently been on. Dad hunted all around the world, and we have the trophies to prove it. He was older when I got into my hunting age, but I was lucky enough to share quite a few duck hunts across the inlet of the duck shack and a couple of big game hunts with him, which are treasured memories. We went duck hunting in southern Illinois just a few months before his stroke, and at 76 years old, he was still one hell of a shot. We had many great memories flying out to Kirk's Lodge in Valhalla and fishing, but some of my favorite memories with Dad were the day-to-day ones. We would go out at least once a week, sometimes more, to the tie down at Lake Hood in the Dodson 280Z with our black lab Cubby in the back. to pump the floats on the 185. Then we would stop at the Coast Inn or the little diner at the airport for breakfast. We had two choices of music, Billboard 50s and 60s hits or Top Gun soundtrack on tape. Once he got that Top Gun soundtrack on tape, I don't think it ever came back out of the deck. I must have listened to that soundtrack 1,000 times. I mean, think about it. Riding with Don Burk and her dog in the sports car on a beautiful, sunny summer Saturday while rocking the Top Gun theme music. It doesn't sound that bad, does it? I must have done it 1,000 times, but I think that's what I would go back to if I could go back in time, just go pump the floats. Speaking of our dog, Cubby, she went everywhere with Dad. She came to work with him every day, and we would load her in the 185 on weekends to go to Big Lake, where he would throw the decoy for her. He also threw it for her in the lake behind our house nearly every day. She went on many duck hunts with us, and her and Dad were inseparable. We got nearly 14 great years with her. I remember she started to show her age, about 8 or 9 years old, and she was having some hip problems and looking older. I had gone away to college and had gone through the summer term, so I was gone for a while. And I came back, and Cubby was, I think she was 12 at the time, and all of a sudden she looked really buff, and like, strange, it was like she had reversed time. She had shiny black fur, and her neck was huge. It was almost as if she lost like 5 years. I asked Dad, what's going on with Cubby? She looks amazing all of a sudden, because I kind of thought she was going downhill. She seems younger, her fur is shiny, and he just said, I don't know. Then we were on the way home from the office, and he stopped by the cars to go inside and get something. I'll be back. I might have to turn those down a little. So we went into the cars to go get something, and I was sitting and waiting in the car when he came out with a package of steaks, which he promptly opened and fed to Cubby raw. At some point, he just started buying steaks every day after work and feeding them to Cubby. He loved the dog so much, it was the only girlfriend that Mom allowed him to have. Mom and Dad had such an amazing love story. They really showed us what true love is supposed to be. Dad always told me, even when he was healthy and I was young, I'm very lucky to have your mom. She takes very good care of me. And she did. I honestly don't know anyone in the world who could do what Mom did to get those last 12 years out of Dad. It was an incredible amount of backbreaking work. 3 nights a week at least of no sleep. But Mom was so dedicated to him, and she got her way at the hospital when it came to his care. Everyone at the hospital was afraid of her, all the way up to the president. The start of Dad's health issues were when he went in for a minor prostate procedure, and they had him stay overnight, and Mom went home, and he had a stroke. They didn't recognize it. And Mom had to tell him the next day that something had happened. She never forgave herself for leaving his side and trusting him with others. Whenever Dad had to go back to the hospital and stay overnight, she refused to leave the hospital, even during COVID restrictions. She wouldn't budge. Once, it looked like they were going to get their way, but my sister Vivian got involved, creating a Facebook campaign to lambaste the hospital for forcing Mom to leave Dad's side. I will tell you this, there is no army in the world that will stand up to an Avera woman, and definitely not 2 of them. So she got her way like she always does, stayed in the hospital. After Dad's stroke, he had sort of a slow decline with some periodic memory issues, where he would be clear as a bell, then have kind of Parkinson's-like symptoms such as dementia and memory loss. And towards the end, the clear days, as we called them, became less and less frequent. And we all hoped we were around for them. One of those days was only a few months ago. I had the opportunity to go through some old pics of when he was in Japan with him, and his polar bear hunt and a few other things, which was pretty amazing. That was not too long ago, so I'm really happy I did that. Let's see. One of the last times we got Dad out to Big Lake, he took me off guard. He didn't say too much at the end, and we never knew if he knew what day it was or whatever. He was in his wheelchair, and he looked at me and said, I was really lucky to have a son like you. He knows the value of a good education, hard work, and family. Of course, I had to walk away because I was losing it. But I told him then, and I told him a few times after, and once more today, I was really lucky to have Dad. Almost didn't read that part. Ben's going to make fun of me now. But okay. All right. We would like to invite anyone who wishes to come up, tell some great stories about Dad, and share what he meant to you starting with August, as you know, And if you don't want to get up in front of everyone, we'd love to hear them afterward. Here's the dad. You're a very hard father figure to try to live up to, but I'm going to have fun trying. Big bucks and big goals.
My name is August Burk, and I'm here to talk about my Grandpa Don. It made me happy when the grandpa I love would sit next to me at Big Lake and eat peanuts. He always made me feel loved. I liked to sit next to him and talk. He was not only my grandpa, he was my friend. Papa, you were the best grandpa. I hope you have a good life in heaven.
Thanks, Dad. Okay, thanks everyone for coming. I'm Vivian Burk. I'm Doc's youngest kid. I just want to give a quick thank you to everyone who helped today. Keith, Lisa, Mom, John Petit, my in-laws, the Egan's, my old roommate Eric, for setting up the live feed, and I'm getting all the things. There's so many other people I'm sure I'm forgetting. I wanted to note that it's really wonderful to have Sonia and Brian Clark here. They came all the way up from South Carolina thanks to Jackie. Anyway, just say hi to the Clarks back home in Anderson. Sonia was with us at the office for more than 50 years, side by side with Dad, and Jackie has also been working with us for over 35 years. Still works with Guy, poor thing. Dad really loved you ladies and all of his team. And the fact that he had so many long-term employees just really, to me, speaks to the kind of man and boss he was. My sisters Kelly and Julianne wish they could be here today, but they are coming in this summer for the burial, so that's they're going to be here, and they just wish to express their gratitude to everyone who's here to help celebrate Dad today. Kelly said she hopes you keep those memories and enjoy sharing stories about him today and in the future. And Julianne said that she loved her dad and appreciated that he taught her the value of hard work and a good education. She'll miss sharing mud pie with him, because that was his favorite. I feel like Dad would be a little, surprised, if not embarrassed, about all the fuss about him, because he's just such a modest man. He really didn't feel the need to hear himself talk, and so luckily or unluckily for him, the rest of us can't but talk. So the thing about not talking a whole lot is that when you do, people generally listen, and they definitely did to Dad. You'd always notice a hush go over the room every time he started to say anything. He never raised his voice very often, but if he saw someone being mistreated, he definitely did. I have some, but a very few memories of when Dad wasn't in my life. He came into my life when I was almost 3. I actually remember the first night that we moved into the house. I remember falling asleep on his bear rug and feeling really safe and secure and knowing that I was home. It's the same bear rug that would get rolled up at the end of every party that Mom and Dad would throw, and they would throw a lot of them. Because at the end of every party, the adults would cut loose and start dirty dancing. That was, of course, after a game of Trivial Pursuit, in which him and Neil Harada would be the ringers, and everyone would fight over who was going to have them on their team. And they most certainly were never allowed to be on the same team. Whenever we would not know the answer to the question, we would look over and we'd say Don or Neil, and they would kind of pop an eye open, and they would answer the question without even having to be told what the question was. I remember going to Neil's funeral mass with Dad when he passed.
Mom was out of town, as she seemed to conveniently be at all funerals, in case you're wondering how she feels about funerals. With Mom usually away on business, I became Dad's funeral buddy. He'd take me out of school to go with him, and occasionally he'd tell me a story or two about the person who'd left here. Or we'd sit silently and ponder the gravity of that loss. The thought of Dad reunited with Neil and his beloved Scott and all of the other people he loved and missed gives me great comfort. My husband Jim mentioned to me this morning that he was always impressed that Dad stressed to us the power of education to keep us independent. I never understood growing up why he was so focused on school until I was older, and he said to me very plainly that he never wanted me beholden to any man. If I had my education and I had a good career, I'd never be dependent on anyone to live. I could marry who I wanted, live where I wanted, and raise my kids on my own terms and not anyone else's. If you have an education and a good career, you'll never be under anyone else's thumb. And that was really important to him, that we had that independence, especially his daughters. So it turns out he was a bit of a feminist after all. Contrary to belief of some, Dad never pushed me into dentistry growing up. While Guy always knew from kindergarten that he wanted to be a dentist, it wasn't until my senior year when my indecision between art school and becoming an OB fell apart, and I found myself lost. One night he took me to dinner down the road at what is now called Piper's. We sat watching the float planes taking off, and he said, "You know, Viv, I wasn't going to say anything, but dentistry is a really great mix of art and medicine. And you don't have to be on call and leave your kids in the middle of the night." And I had never seen it that way. Dad knew to be a good dentist, you had to be a bit of an artist, and I never looked back after that. I'm thankful to have the career I love so much to his guidance that day by this very lake. After a particularly hard-hitting and frustrating dental school interview in Baltimore, the professor asked me who was the most influential person in my life and why. I almost immediately teared up, which is the cardinal rule of interviews that you don't cry. And I explained that it was a very emotionally charged question because he was my dad. He took care of us and became our dad when he didn't have to be. He gave us a life we never dreamed about, an adventure and love. He taught us independence and care for our fellow man, and he made my mom immensely happy. Despite the waterworks, I got my acceptance offer within a few days. I cannot remember a single time in my life giving my dad a kiss goodnight that I didn't feel the tears welling up behind my eyes. Even at 4 and 5 years old, I turned away quickly so he couldn't see me cry. Even if I didn't understand it, I guess my soul knew how much I loved him. I've come to realize that it doesn't really matter It doesn't really matter if we had spent hours talking away the big and little things that he did, and more than the words that he could speak. The birthday cards he picked out were always deliberate, even when he himself wrote little more than love you. I knew from going with him to the store that he spent a really long time in the aisle of those greeting cards, reading every one to make sure that it rang true. We connected in different ways than words. For example, we used to eat at Romano's almost every month growing up. He would take the crust off of his bread and ball up the soft inside and set it down in front of you. And I would take and reciprocate by giving him my crust because I knew that he liked the crust and he knew that I did not. We didn't have to love all the same things for him to love me the same. Thank you, Dad, for the lifetime of memories that I have, the plethora of lives you've touched, for the patience that I still have the privilege to work with, the love you freely gave your family and friends, for being a true role model and tireless advocate for your kids, for allowing me to be present with you in your last breaths. We will continue to attempt to do your legacy justice and keep your memory alive with our kids. I love you.
And I'm going to let have some other people come up. I want to read this one thing from Dad's friend Jeff White. So Jeff and Dad were good friends, stationed in Sasebo, Japan, together. And I didn't meet him until a few years ago. I think they were here 2 years ago or something like that. Jeff and Barbara. So Jeff might be watching, and Barbara might be watching. I was hoping I would get a video from him, but we couldn't make it work of him doing it. So I'll just do my best to read it. But he sent us this email, and I'd never heard these stories, and this is what I hope I hear some more tonight. So from Jeff White, treasure the memories. What better place to meet a man I will always remember than the Visiting Officers Club on Treasure Island under the Golden Gate Bridge. And he wrote on the subject line by my best friend, Dr. Donald Burk. Under the Golden Gate Bridge. Hi, I'm Don Burk. Hey, Don, I'm Jeff White. I'm en route to Sasebo, Japan. Where are you headed? Then we better get to know each other better because I'll be there with you. 3 days of San Fran fun. The Kingston Trio at the Hungry Eye. A learning experience at Pinocchio's bar, buying a cute girl a glass of wine who wasn't a woman. We had no transvestites in small town Iowa. Don was driving a 57 Chevy convertible he bought while working at a dog racing track. Can you believe he just gave me the keys as he shipped out to Japan 2 days before my flight, saying, Jeff-san, we'll turn heads in Japan. Japanese and our first name with san. Friends like Don can be a challenge, though. My first night in Sasebo, we met for dinner at the Officers Club. Jeff-san, try this. You'll love it. A wafer loaded with green paste burned its way down my throat as my breath disappeared. I recall knocking a senior officer on his ass as I raced to the waiter service table for 2 pitchers of water. Pure wasabi destroyed half my taste buds. Don-san, when you work on my teeth, notice the stars, you nut. Don became the most popular dentist in Sasebo. He was proud of his family, learned to butcher the Japanese language, starred on the base football team, made friends wherever he went, and was my best round-eyed friend. One night, a very large, very drunk officer from a visiting ship was harassing Johnny Shima, our favorite bartender. With one arm, Don picked him up and asked politely, if you'd like your nose in the back of your head, you'll keep calling Johnny a Jap bastard. Now, please return to your ship and bow to Johnny on your way out. Love that story. On a rest and relaxation cruise to Hong Kong, a briefing officer admonished us to never go into the Wan Che district. Of course, we headed there. over beers in the bar, a tough-looking Chinese dude offered to kill anyone we wanted for $100 US. Don said, hey, Jeff, you know that commander who honked us off? Wetting his lips. The would-be assassin said, yeah. $50 now, $50 when kill confirmed. We declined and heard, well, then let me kill you. Don stood up and the tough guy took the hint and said, enjoy Hong Kong. We left the Wan Che district. Seventh Heaven, formerly a Japanese flag officer's mansion, was available to rent. I love to negotiate, so we was sent to see if 7 of us could afford the place with gardens, Buddha statues, and 2 servants. 7 of us, including Don, shared the $485 monthly rent. Seventh Heaven became the favorite party place for many of our friends, including enlisted, the executive officers, Marines from my base basketball team, and some Japanese we had befriended like Johnny. The most memorable was the celebration of finding the wreckage of Amelia Earhart's plane. I'm guessing that's an inside joke. Flash forward to 1965 and my wedding to Donna. I regretted naming a friend as best man when Don called to say, hey, Jeff-san, I wouldn't miss it. What a friend. Love the memories of both of you. Jeff-san. Don't y'all rush up here. And yeah, like I said, feel free to get drinks and food and all that. Just kind of informal round table.
I'm Joel Cusick. I'm the husband of Jackie Carney here. I'm a little more extroverted than she is. She's leaving right now. One story I flashed to the screen behind me was a houseboat. And we took a houseboat out of, I don't know, on Lake Mead somewhere. And Don's friend, Renee, helped me out here. Former 1950s football player. We all went out on that houseboat together.
Rich?
Yeah, big guy. Rich. And we were drinking and we were tied up in some bay or something and just having a great old time. Because, you know, we're the young guys of the group, right? Jackie and I. It's Renee and Don and Rich and his wife, younger wife. Yes. And I mean, you could just tell how long these guys knew each other. But I do remember getting thrown off the boat by Renee when I was so hungover. And that was from the 3rd floor of a houseboat. And I was complaining that I'm hungover. And she just basically threw me off. She picked me up and tossed me off the deck. So that was a good time. But Don was just a great guy, and Renee.
Everybody hear me? I'll just tell you one story before I doing something here. This is in 1969. We were up in Point Hope, which they still call that place Point Hope. And Don, we went into their IMAX theater, which actually was a Quonset hut. Hard hitting lights, and I think it was 7 millimeter or 5 millimeter. Anyway, they had these church chairs. A lot better than this, anyway. So, but good part of the movie, and Don's sitting right here. When the good part of the movie came, down goes Don. His chair collapsed, and everybody's looking around, and Don just turns his head in that stupid smile. You know, that was him anyway. All right, I'm representing the Quiet Birdmen today. Those are a bunch of pilots that get together once a month and tell lies about how good they are. And none of them are any good anyway. So we're going to present something to Renee, who was Don's caretaker, which is a lot harder than what we ever did, I tell you. Do you want me to read it? Okay, it says Donald Earl Burk, Doc, QB 1856. That's 18,562. This is all over the U.S. now. Born September 30th, 35. Gone west. That's that way. March 20th, 2024. So it says, Brother QB, valiant friend, go in the grace of God, or where the ships come down to park. When day is done and night falls dark, and landing gears, whatever it says, deep their mark. Brother QB, valiant friend, go with a heart of peace. Though alone thy fight shall be, each journey is not straight to thee. Whose years have compassion, land and sea, so long without success. Brother QB, valiant friend, go to eternal rest. For storms shall roll and mine shall fly, without closure from on high. By trace, geez, it's hard to read. Well large on freedom to sky, until the course held west. Anyway, And remember, where are you, Renee? Oh, Renee was a caretaker for a few months, and Don was a QB, and he used to come every month until his health went downhill, and then he couldn't take it any longer. So, and Renee, this is for you, and this is so those are all yours. Okay, thank you.
I'm not going to talk, but I do have to say this. Don's name for Chuck was Muck Tuck. And the reason was on that polar bear hunt, they were down with weather, and they were in a village, and they had Muck Tuck, and Don wouldn't eat it, but Chuck felt like it would be rude not to. So from then on, he called him Muck Tuck.
And the Muck Tuck was horrible.
Well, I'll get up and say one thing, you know. I'm Renee's brother, and the first time I met Don was down in Seattle. And he came up, and I'm looking and checking him out, and looking, and I go, this guy is no dentist. He looks like Grizzly Adams. He dresses like Kojak. And he acts like John Wayne, you know. But he was a neat guy. But here's the funny story. We're stuck on Maui in 2020 for 2 months. So Don's in the bedroom, and you know he's pretty bedridden. And all of a sudden I hear him yelling, Renee, I gotta go to the bathroom. Well, I'm the only one there. So I'm looking around going, what am I doing? So I call Renee and I go, hey, he's got to go to the bathroom. You got to get back here, you know. And she goes, no, he has a pitcher there. You just got to go in and get his pants down. So I'm going in there and I'm going, oh my God, okay, let's get you up. So he stands up and I'm getting up there. I get this thing up, pulling down his shorts, and I go, oh God, he's going to piss. So I had to grab it. And I'm going, this is terrible. This is horrible. What is this doing to me? You know. So he gets done and we come back and I go, don't do that to me again. And I had to hold his penis. And they're going, you hold his penis? That's my story. I had to hold my brother-in-law's penis. Who was it that said you can't say something good about somebody? Don't say anything?
Don.
Oh, that's
Well, I
fine.
don't know who originally said it, but Dad said it all the time.
Any dentists in this group? I can tell my story. I was in the United States Public Health Service right up here with the old building was torn down. I'm afraid of mice. I'm afraid of cell phones. So I was a dentist at the Public Health Service, and Don was appointed by Governor Sheffield as dental board president, I believe. And I had quite a time between 19. I'm the same age as Don. In fact, I'm 2 months older.
and I played quarterback. You know, it was a small town. Anyway, between 1962, when Don and I got out of dental school, I don't even remember where he went. I was at Chicago, Northwestern. Between 1962 and 1972, boy, that's a long time ago, wasn't it? I had failed, since there aren't a bunch of dentists here, it's easy to tell you. I had failed no less than 4 dental boards, including Alaska twice. So I was coming in from a field trip. We went out to take care of the natives. I was coming in from Copper Center, I think. And I didn't want to go home. I just stopped at a bar and I looked around and, oh my gosh, there's Don Burk sitting right down there. He's the last guy I wanted to talk to because I failed the board for the 4th time. And boy, I wish I could write it because I can't speak very good. I had to go to the men's room. And I thought, how can't get to the men's room without going by Don Burk sitting over there? What am I going to do? So I just kind of crept by the way. Hey, Dick, come on over here. By the way, I'm Richard Middlestat, and I practiced dentistry over at Northern Lights for 48 years. Another year over at Briarwood because I didn't want to let go, but when you get carpal tunnel and you can't get back in the mouth very good, you gotta give it up. So after 61 years of that, I decided I'd go home and take care of my wife's little house that she found up on the hillside. Back to the story. I'm trying to get around Don Burk to the men's room without him seeing me. And it was like, if you could ever imagine what it'd be like for someone to take a hot poker and just jam it into your jugular vein. He said, "Hey, Dick." And you said, "Don't say anything to anybody unless you got something good to say." He said, "Hey, Dick, you're gonna take the board again next year?" It was like I can't describe it. But thanks to him, he riled up that football spirit in me. I came back the next year and got the 2nd highest grade of the whole state board. God bless Don Burk. God used him in my life.
If there's anyone here who wants to speak that doesn't want to come up to the stage, raise your hand and I'll bring you a mic. Otherwise, I'm cranking the tune.
I first met Don in 1989 when I went on the job interview, and I walked into the office, and there's Sonia and Linda sitting at the front desk smoking, and Linda's drinking her vodka, lemonade, and they're quick bath. I'm like, oh, this is a company familiar. So they hired me, and then I met Don like an hour later, and we became really good friends right away. We bonded. He told me that day, show up early tomorrow because we're working on my friend Paul, and we're going to crown all of his teeth, and you need to make him some really good temporaries because I'm spending the weekend with him. And I had never done anything like that in my life, temporary crowns on all the teeth. And so I didn't sleep at all that night. I went to work the next morning. He sits down, brushes all his teeth, and then he gets up and leaves. And there I am. Good call. I'm like, oh my God, sweating. So I don't know what kind of teeth I made for him, but that was my first experience. He was just, do this, I'm sure you'll be fine at it, and then he'd leave. He's total opposite of Guy, who I do something 13 times, and Guy still has to tell me how to do it. But he was just the greatest boss ever. He was so generous and kind, and Renee, I spent parties and Thanksgiving with him for years. It wasn't like a boss, he was like a friend. And we'd go to a party at his house, and he'd have, some dentists that kind of stuck up, and they'd have just their doctor friends. But he'd have his plumber and his electrician and the trash man, just everybody was his friend. He was just a wonderful guy. I'd go to see my mother, and he'd give me $100, before my trip, and he'd say, take your mom out to dinner. And he was a good guy.
You got it, come on.
Sonia's the best assistant at the world at free-handing roundhouse temps, by the way.
She didn't help me.
Yeah. Oh, Jackie was the dentist there for a while. So, yeah.
Yeah, when I show up, I'm wanting to too. When Jackie started to work, I'm surprised she even speaks to him. Because they be doing a filling or an extraction, Sonia!
He did it for years after I was there. He said, remember him saying it just felt good to see you?
Yeah, I come up here and Scott Loudon was the first time he was in the office. He said, what are you doing here? Don't you live in South Carolina? And I said, yeah. And later he said, I know why you were here. I felt like the security monkey. He said, go out to the reception area and talk to the patients. So I would, then I'd work, and I had a little desk out the tree. And it was fun. He's a good guy. Chuck Holden was here. His wife, who's passed now, was his first assistant. They lived in Kenai. Is it Kenai?
Yep.
And so she worked in a little restaurant underneath the bill office. So when he moved to Anchorage, she came with him. And then she married Chuck. And she worked, I don't know how many years, for a long time. Now she's got, she has 4 children. So Helen Bosch
started work. And her husband was in the military. So then they were going to leave, and I heard I was working for this meeting dentist. So I was going to quit in the summer anyway. So they said, go for an interview. So I go in the office on Fifth Avenue, it's about this big. You go in here to the desk and sit in this chair, and all the coats are hanging on your head. And he said, does your husband hunt and fish? And I said, yes. Well, when could you come to work? I said, and I was trained in four-handed dentistry, which you hand the instrument instead of talking. And so he learned it really quick. Yeah. I mean, I'd hand him to him, and he was just like, take it. I guess when you do a filling, you do a certain procedure, you use the same instrument. Well, sometimes I didn't think he should use that one instrument, so I handed another one. So he'd look at it, he'd lay down, he'd pick up his regular one, he'd go in the mouth, he'd lay down and pick up that one. He said, how did you know that? I said, well, if I can see in there, I use the instrument. I hand you the instrument that I would use. He said, well, it's working. But he was. And then Jackie came to work, I came to work, and then Jackie came to work. So all his time, he's had these four people.
In and out.
You know, and I worked as a slope worker. Renee called me and she said, you have to come back up here and work. Don wants me down at the front desk and I'm not coming down there. I said, I don't have a house and I don't have a car. She said, well, you can live with us. I was Vivian's roommate. And I had a car, her car. I always had a car. Keith one time brought the keys to the car, didn't you? From the big lake. Because she took the keys with her and I didn't have a car. So he flew the keys with her. You know, and if they had company and they needed the car, she rented their car. And she's the best cook in the house. And my husband's not in really good health, and I tell him every day, I don't have the patience that Renee Burk has. I mean, I've been with him 2 weeks at a time, and Dawn would holler, Renee! And I'd say, what do you need, Dawn? I need to get up. I said, you can get up. She wanted Renee. And then when, I guess it was 2 years ago, they went to Hawaii, and the girl, I never think her name, I was looking for her. They kept her name with Dawn. She said, I'm here. Okay. And she was sent from heaven. God loved her, and she loved God. She took really good care of her. She had her name. I mean, she'd go to Hawaii. I mean, she would do anything. She's trying to find my son. She's trying to find her niece to marry my son, but that never showed up. I'm still waiting. No, but he was a great guy. Really great guy. I don't think he ever said anything bad about anything. One time he told this woman, says, where's your baby due? She said, I'm not pregnant. So he never did ask questions like that. We had a few fives over salary. But other than that, he was great.
Sister Alda, she's the angel that's been helping Mom take care of Dad for the last couple of years. And she really is an angel. And we love you.
Well, you guys already been to this. You guys know my name. My name is Geralda. I'm I'm the only one, the best caregiver that Dan has ever. But anyway, Dan was the best man that I ever met, except my husband, of course. But he is the sweetest guy I met with all the challenges that he has, especially lately, that with dialysis. She was suffering, but she never complained. That time never complained.
Although I know in the fact that he's hurting himself. I don't know, but I know in her face that he's hurt. But she never complained. One day, the funny thing is, when I give him a shower, she always said, "Oh, honey, it's like scrubbing an old Chevy." So, why not Ford, honey? No, I don't like the Chevy or an old Plymouth. I think she got a 35 Plymouth. And then after I give him a shower, that's when she started walking. Then, and when she's still walking with the walker, and she went straight, is trying to go to the garage and looking for his 1935 Plymouth. It's like, honey, there is no Plymouth in. How come? There is no 35. I don't see a truck over there. Talking. And then, so now when this lately that she was with this dialysis, so we go there, we fix it. Rene and I are we take care, and I'm so proud of Rene, and I admire her how she takes care of Dan. Even he complains, "I'm gonna tangle your neck, Doc." Is that the right way? Tangle your neck. So sometimes he was. You go there, you fix it, then you close. Okay, you take it out, then you turn on. What now? We go there. I need to either scratch her back or scratch her back or anything. It's like, so we go there, they scratch or me scratch, and then you close the door, you go back again. I need help. And then we ignore it. Sometimes we ignore or I ignore it. Dale is here for Dale. Dale is not here. He's far away. Well, Sonia is not here. And, well, nobody helped me in here. Why can you not tell me? Honey, I can help you. So that you do it again. And you turn around. Come back. Help. I said, no wonder Renee started telling me that she's gonna tangle your neck. I will tangle your neck too. But anyway, it's fun. I love this man. She is so sweet and she is very he never complained. And even when she was hurting, he never said, but I'm with this job that I do, I met a lot of people that all they do is complain, but she never complained. Just for this lady that she was kind of her back, the same story, back is hurting, but anyway. So that's the story of taking care of Dan. I was so unfortunate to meet this Dan. She's very sweet. Amen.
Who's got some real funny stories? They're probably maybe they're not audience appropriate. We'll talk about them later. Well, if anybody has anything comes up and you guys want to go up and tell a story about Dad or say something, feel free to do it. Mic's open. Otherwise, eat, drink, and be merry, and let's hang out. I don't think there's really a closing time necessarily here, but yeah, let's all hang out like Dad would do. Thank you guys all for being here.
All you need is driving license.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, that's oh, you guys are off. Yes. And the kids are sitting on them. That wedding, Right, bye-bye.